Hello, this is Catherine Morgan. I am the founder of Point A to Point B Transitions and also the Depression Discussions, the conversations that entrepreneurs need to have. Today, I am super excited to talk with my friend Koch, who, by the way, is one of the highest energy humans you will ever meet. I watch some of the videos of her teaching this dance workout class she'll tell you about, and I start sweating and getting exhausted just watching her teaching those classes. It's crazy. She is also a social media savant who I have personally hired and highly recommend. But today we're talking about entrepreneurship and depression and the value of yes and being in your business for 10 years, because I'm just a shade behind her. And we're going to be raw and real today. Hi, Sue.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
Well, I want to thank you for being so supportive of the depression discussion since we launched a year ago in July. And you've been just a big proponent and sharing our stuff. And I never knew, I was totally grateful, but I never knew why. I figured there must be some at your family or some situation that had you resonate with the content, or else it wouldn't have landed. You would have said, oh, nice, Catherine's doing this thing. Can you give us a little bit about your background and your interest in this conversation?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I think is so great that you are bringing to light with a local community of people that's spreading this message, because it is something that people don't talk about a lot. And I did resonate with the message, one, because I was excited to see, someone like you do something different from your business and really go out there with something new to help people. But also because, it is something that I have struggled with and I do struggle with, certainly in family as well, which is very common. But I think people are always very surprised to hear that because, like you said, people see the very energetic side of me, the happy side. People make me happy. But sometimes it is really hard to get myself to go be with the people. And so I think also with some of the other people you've been interviewing and the stories that they talk about, and in particular, the article that, John David shared about the 15 experiences of people with concealed depression, it was just one of those things that you read and you're like, yes, 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 yes. And to know that there's so many people out there feeling all of those things, but not talking about it, or people in their circles don't realize they're going through that and you don't know how to bring it up. I think it's such an important thing to share, and it's very common in the entrepreneurial community.
Very common. Once I sort of draw that out there, I actually don't know anybody who hasn't experienced some situational depression, lost a big client, didn't get a proposal accepted, had some cash flow issues. I mean, you're gonna have some ups and downs as an entrepreneur. You must know in your own business and with your clients.
Yeah, it's a tough road, and something now that I'm thinking about a lot as I'm in my 10th year, which I'm very excited about, is when I left that corporate world. I am someone who is extremely others focused, to the detriment of myself quite a bit. However, that serves me well in certain situations, but it was also something I didn't recognize when I made the shift from the corporate world, the tech world, into entrepreneurship, which was I managed people, I was part of big teams, there were other companies I was dealing with. And so my dedication, I realized, was really to everybody, my boss, the company, my team. And I was so driven by that in spite of what I was going through, I would force myself to be there. When I made the switch into entrepreneurship and I found myself in this world of working from home with my laptop, I had my clients that I was very dedicated to, but when it came to self-care or when it came to my own projects to help further my business and grow myself, I just shut down a lot. And that's where that kind of depression time and just pulling up time. It's like, well, make sure my clients are taken care of, and then I might fall off the face of the earth for a few days. And so that was a shift I was not prepared for, because I wasn't aware of it when I was working 16 hours a day in the world of tech during the bubble and all of those things, because I was just pushing it so hard. So that shift, you get excited about, professionally and career wise, this is something I can do. I can handle it. I've got all these skills. When you realize the emotional and mental side of it is a whole nother story, it's important to consider.
It is. And in my career transition work, I've often worked with people who are natural extroverts, not me, but who are natural extroverts, who are energized and inspired by other people. And then they fall back and are living, quote unquote, the life of the headset and pajamas, which is in fact my dream life, but definitely, not theirs. And they get this disconnect, this pull, like, wait a minute, I'm living the life, but I'm actually miserable and falling into clinical depression because they're not bouncing off people in their day to day. So they're the folks who I immediately say, get thee to a co-working space. Like, even if you're doing your own work, go bump into people at the coffee machine, go bump into people in workshops, get out of your house.
Yes. And that's the problem, is that sometimes that's so hard to do. So I think it's so important to find an accountability partner, or someone that you're making a commitment to, because it's funny, I can go out and, like you mentioned, I also teach a dance fitness class called Work, which I truly think has saved my life on some occasions.
Yep.
But I can do that and teach class for a couple of hours and engage with all these people. But then the next day, the idea of even taking a shower to leave the house to go to a Starbucks to be with people is just feels like running a marathon.
Exhausting. Exhausting.
So I think it's one of the things that I just did is I forced myself to move into a building where there's more community, where when I take my dog out, I have to at least look like I care about myself. Or the downstairs is literally a co-working space, and it's a goal for me to get out more, because I do hold myself up, and I'll sit there and I might get work done, but I'm not thriving in the way that I want to thrive, which is why I created this business. So I think that's so important, to find the ways to get out there, but also have a friend that, like, say, hey, you know what, if you haven't heard from me in a few days, give me a call and let's go work together down the street or at this co-working space, so that you have that person that's going to pull you out and say, we're going there and you're getting out today. Because once you're there, that energy and the people can change everything.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to go out to lunch with somebody or meet somebody for coffee. I think it's important to have other entrepreneur friends who are building businesses that you can have these frank conversations with and say, you know what, I am just not feeling it today. Can you have lunch next week? Like a former client of mine who's a very successful solo consultant just reached out. He's like, hey, let's have lunch next week. Absolutely. And it may be a day when I don't particularly want to leave my house, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Because it's important to catch up with that person. And like you said, having other people that are business owners as friends that you can share with, because not everyone understands the same kind of struggles. I know when I was back in that world, I wouldn't have got it, if people doing what I'm doing today were lamenting about some of the struggles and issues. So it's important that you have someone that is in that playing field that can help listen or guide or share their differences. And that's a great, you talk about the yes and, so that you're not falling back into that negative, but having someone who can say to you, yes, that happened, and here's what you can learn from it and what you can do with that and how we can help each other through it.
Yeah, or that it's not forever, because when you're in it, you'd be like, oh my God, I'm never gonna, Rob Bell says, despair is a spiritual disease, that the next day will be like the previous day, which is exactly what depression is. You're like, is this ever gonna end? Oh my God.
Yeah. And just having that feeling of like, I feel like this, I don't want to feel like this, I want to be this person, but getting yourself from that point A to point B, no pun intended, maybe pun intended, is really difficult without some maybe support and help from others.
Absolutely. Since you are a social media expert, what is your experience, either personally or with your clients, about social media and fear of missing out, a little FOMO, and a little Instagram, life, best, you see everybody's greatest hits. I know John David was very, and Phil Gerbyshak were very, yeah, social media can be brutal if you're not feeling so great about yourself. What would you say about that?
Oh yeah, and I watched both of those videos and shared those as well because that message is so strong, and 100% agree. And it's kind of crazy because sometimes I'm like, what have I done to myself? What career path have I gotten myself into? Because as much as I will work with clients and help guide them through getting past comfort zones to put yourself out there and get these pictures and do these videos, I struggle with it myself. And I look back to some of the past where I held myself back because I was seeing what other people did. And, well, I don't have this, or I don't have that, or I don't look like this, or I don't have the space, and all of those things that held me back,
Right.
that I know logically are ridiculous. And when I'm with a client, I can cheerlead them the hell out of it. And then the next day they're out there on video and I'm like, yeah, go you. And then I'm feeling like imposter syndrome. It's tough. And also on the personal side, I'm really trying to find ways that, because I need to be there for my clients to help them monitor, to help them curate, to help identify trends and things like that, that you get yourself caught up. And especially you add today's climate of social media and other things going on in the world, combine that with the highlight reel of everyone's life, it can really take you down. And I've had to, take days where I just say, whatever I'm doing with my clients, finding ways to not go on personal news feeds and stay on business news feeds, or take actions like block family members because the stress of what is being discussed and shared and how I take it in is not serving my sanity anymore. And so sometimes you have to block people, stay away from it, maybe shift away from using certain channels, or set your news feed up so that you're only going to see the things that are important. But just realizing that, the highlight reel isn't real life. It's not, and everyone's struggling with something. Some people choose to put it out there, and that's what the blessing is that you're bringing to people, is so that other people can say, oh wow, okay, I'm not alone.
Yeah, that's the whole goal of this, is to get it out of the closet, and just as easy a conversation as saying, you know what, I'm having a crap day.
Yeah. And I think people are resonating so much more with that now, where people are you're seeing more influencers putting things out there about depression and about illnesses, and taking pictures of their cellulite and not using filters, and just bringing more reality to it, because
because we're all tired and our BS meters are very finely tuned.
Right? Everyone's keeping up with the whoever these days, and it's exhausting. And we don't have time for that. We need to feed our souls, not detract from them.
Nice. So social media and the entrepreneur, your advice would be to prioritize, do what you need, know what days you can take in the full fire hose, and what days you just need to take the drip, drip, drip to keep your business and your clients on track.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's also kind of the downside of being a social media professional, is finding a way to be there for my clients and do the things that I'm committed to do, and learning, but also not being taken down by it. And if you're a business owner that's just doing it for your business, then, so many people come to me and say, oh, I feel like a dinosaur, I'm not on Facebook. I'm like, good for you, because you are probably a happier human than the most of the rest of us. So if there's a way to just keep it to the business page, or maybe it's just LinkedIn, or maybe it's just Instagram, where you aren't seeing as much advertising around things that are highly sensitive, and you can create more of a feed that serves you and inspires you. There are ways to do it to keep that energy up. And on the personal side, just staying connected to those people who are real and going to keep you up and help you be accountable, because you can craft things that way. But yeah, even take a day or two where you just say no social.
Yeah, I've had to do one or two of those. I'm just like, yeah, not checking in today. Sorry, anybody. Like I don't put it out there because, like, who cares if I'm looking, but I'll tell myself, yeah, not doing that today. I took it off my phones. I mean, I don't have anything ping me. I have to actively look for it. So there's no inbound, which I find is super helpful.
Yeah, that constant stimulation too can really take things down too, because when you're in a bad place too, anything that takes your energy can just be so disconcerting, and that can certainly be 15 dings popping up on your phone all the time.
Yeah, and how about anxiety? How
Oh,
about ratcheting up your anxiety? I don't know if you struggle with that, but usually most people do both.
yeah,
But
there's a combination.
the pings, can ratchet up. If you're already a little anxious, that could go,
Yeah,
and that's not so helpful.
definitely. And that's that struggle too of that combination of depression with not sleeping and not exercising and feeding yourself well,
Right.
uh, can trigger that anxiety at such higher levels.
Totally.
And that's something else that needs to be controlled. And I know that also as a side gigging fitness instructor.
Yeah. Let's jump into that because you're saying that, sometimes you don't take care of yourself. I'm like, dude, you are one of the most fit women I have ever seen. You are serious, little hard body there. And those workouts you do are no joke. How does that help? Do you find that burns off stress?
Oh my God.
What's the intersection of?
It's been such a blessing in so many ways because a friend encouraged me when I started my business also 10 years ago to become a fitness instructor. And I'm like, I'm 37. I'm too old to become a fitness instructor. And now I'm seeing people, all over the place doing it no matter what. And it's been such a blessing in so many ways in that one is they each help each other when it comes to being in front of people and speaking and kind of getting into that improv mode where they I learn from each other on either side. But the sanity side of things is because I'm so others focused, even when I'm stuck in my rut, I'm like, I'm gonna go teach. I'm not gonna leave my people hanging.
I think it's important to have something that you can't back out of.
Can't say no.
Yeah, and I think that might be a place where we say entrepreneurs, you got to have some stuff in there that you have to go do. You have to go to that speaking gig. You have to go teach that class. You have to, even if you could move it, have some stuff in there that make you get out of your house.
Yeah, and that that forces it because I have a room full of people that I love that feed my soul. And so the people combined with just, dancing and sweating for an hour to top 40 music, that's just, and it is the dance, the sweat, the joy that takes me out of that headspace. I said, I feel like it's saved my life on a few occasions, and I truly
don't doubt it.
Because
the vibe of being there with the people and you guys, bouncing their energy off that has to be pretty powerful. I mean, I remember back in the days, I won't even tell you, we wore leg warmers back then. That's how long ago it was.
We wear leg warmers again.
But, I was the low impact aerobics queen and I loved it.
Yeah. And it just the expression, and it takes you out of your head because whether you're depressed, anxious, entrepreneur, all of those things, that monkey mind never stops. So if you're in a room where the music is just jamming and you're dancing and sweating and people are smiling around you, it takes you out of that, and it can bring you back to a place when you walk out of that room like, okay,
I can feel better, at least temporarily. Okay.
Yeah, it's perfect. So since it's not me just taking a class, I can't just say I'm not doing it today. And I'm so grateful for that. And I love it so much. But it can be hard, but it's, it gets me off of this too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that it probably has saved your life. Like my, other work with Carol Roth, Carol's stuff can't slide. She's a type A chronic overachiever. Like I can't mess up with her. So when I have to get myself motivated to do her stuff, I might as well do my stuff because I'm already in motion. Like that's how I saved myself in this business.
Exactly. Yeah. You get that motivation. You're like, well, here I am. I'm in the zone now. Let's keep it going. And that can carry through to the next day.
So you shared so much great stuff, Sue. It was such a pleasure talking to you. What would you like to leave us with? What tidbit of knowledge? 10 years in your own business. That's incredible. You had a better chance of being hit by a bus. What would you like to leave us with?
Oh gosh. I would just say that don't be afraid to reach out to people. people will probably just think, oh my God, I had no idea you were going through this. And you will find that person who is going to keep on you and check in on you and have those accountability partners. And like we just talked about, have that thing that you will not give up. Have that thing that no matter how great or shitty you might feel, that you're going to show up, because that's going to pull you out, and the people around you in that zone are going to help take you to that next level. So set that up for yourself. And if you're somebody that is just starting a business, get in touch with people like Catherine, myself, the people that are going through these interviews, to check in and see how you can create that lifeline and support system for yourself as you go from one endeavor to the next.
And one thing that's fantastic. And I promise you, if you reach out to people and tell them what you're struggling with, more likely than not, someone's going to say, oh yeah, I was totally like that last month or right now or last year. Like, you'd really be surprised.
Complete validation and normalization. We're all in it together.
Absolutely. It's a part of entrepreneurship. That roller coaster's no joke, but let's keep it here instead of here.
Mm-hmm. Better place to be.
All right. Thank you so much, Sue. I really appreciate you.
Likewise. Thanks for doing these, Catherine.
Bye.
Hi, this is Catherine. Thank you for watching this interview of the Depression Discussions, the conversations entrepreneurs need to have. If you want to see more interviews, you can go to depressiondiscussions.com, or please join the conversation on Facebook at Depression Discussions. This is a labor of love for me, bringing this conversation out into the open and out of the closet. My other labor of love is my company, Point A to Point B Transitions, where I help entrepreneurs decide if they want to go into corporate jobs or fix their solo consulting businesses so that they work with clients that they like and make the kind of money they want to make without exhausting themselves and hating their business. If this sounds like you can schedule a 45-minute one-on-one complimentary consultation with me, and I'll help you figure out your right next step. This is Catherine Morgan from Point A to Point B Transitions and the Depression Discussions. Thank you.